everybody. This is DJ. Welcome back to People Along the Way, and I'm very excited. I am hanging out with a really, really cool person. As always, this is Mary Hazell Cary from Marin County, California.
That's right.
That's right. Did you live in Sausalito or?
I do. I live in Sausalito, and we met at Hillside Church of Marin.
Yep, sure did.
Corte Madera.
I got to play with you a little bit, but I got to observe you playing a lot more. And I almost grabbed Bob just to kind of pop in and pop out.
Yeah, Bob would be great to pop in here.
And I might do that next time, and that would be really fun. But anyways, these are just keywords here. You are a rock and roll guitar player.
Yes.
You are a mom.
Totally.
You have 2 kids, right?
2.
You're married to your husband's a drummer.
Yeah, we've been together since we were kids.
Yeah, that's awesome. And he's awesome too. I've met him. I really enjoyed hanging out with him. And you have your own business. You're an entrepreneur. Yes. Have you done multiple businesses over the years? And we'll talk about that at the end. But
mainly the same business, but it is marketing. So I've built a lot of companies through my strategies and ideas with marketing.
Well, that's really cool. That's really cool. We'll kind of get towards that. We have plenty of time, thank goodness, with the COVID thing going on. We have, because people aren't driving around. We're not going to restaurants. We're not, sadly, for my restaurant friends and everything.
I know.
But we're not taking our kids to a bunch of stuff, that kind of stuff. So it's the in-between time. It's amazing, the extra time. I get to do these things on my lunch break. The
introverts love this.
Yes, they do. The extroverts, we're trying to figure out ways to get around the stress.
Yeah, like, get me out of here.
Exactly.
As a matter of fact, we're right here. We're in my walk-in closet right now.
That's awesome.
That's what my Zoom room is the closet.
That's awesome. So I need a closet that size. Mine would be like, it would be in the dark and no one will see my face.
I have lighting. This is
that's
really
awesome.
Important. Yeah.
I got to get that done. So here, there are some things, a lot of things I don't know about you. So this is going to be as interesting for me as other people. So
let it fly.
Where did you come from? I mean, did you grow up in Marin or did you grow up somewhere else? Totally.
I mostly grew up in Marin County, but my dad was getting his PhD at Berkeley.
Oh, wow.
And so when I was a kid, both my parents got PhDs and were just kind of intellectual.
Just got PhDs.
And so as a kid, we kind of went through living in student housing and stuff in Berkeley while my dad was getting his psychology degree, but he had like 3 PhDs. He was crazy. He's smart. He was just like one of those people that's permanently intellectual,
Gosh, that's a glutton for punishment too.
I know, but like he loved it. I think he should have been like a professor or something. Then we moved to San Anselmo, which is here in Marin County.
Yes.
When I was about 10.
Oh.
So I lived in LA for a good stint as an adult and went to music school down there, but mostly ended up back here because it's a great place to raise kids.
Yeah. Now, your mom, was she going to school? She said she got a PhD as well?
Yes, my mom, and I kind of get my guitar playing roots from my mom because her mom was like a mandolin player and a singer. And then my mom was a guitarist and she used to drag me to all these folk music groups where she played and sang, and she used to like jam with Joan Baez and people like that in the late 60s. Yeah, and so as a kid, I was kind of dragged around to these jam sessions in Berkeley. So can you picture?
Wow. That'd be like the 70s, right?
Exactly. And
good night.
They didn't think like that. I didn't think there was anything peculiar about being a female lead guitarist or something, but once I got going and started popping my head up more and more, it was like, oh my God, they thought I was a weirdo.
Yeah, no, I know that there's plenty of women who play guitar, but you also and I've got a video. There's videos of you online. Look up Mary Hazell Cary. You have to be make sure you type that in. and there's you playing "Beat It,"
Yes.
a Michael Jackson cover, like in 2009 or something.
Yeah.
And but that song wasn't it originally done by a female guitar player?
Well,
Or
the
his, at least
solo
on the
on the
tour.
album, like the Beat It solo was actually Eddie Van Halen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then but Jennifer Batten was the
Yes.
lead guitar player out there, and when she left the band, Michael Jackson, they called me to audition for them, and so I played with Michael Jackson 9 times.
Oh, gosh.
And then I was sure I was going to get the gig. I was really cocky about it because playing that solo, I had it nailed, and they kept calling me back. And first time I went to somebody's house, the keyboard player, and his name's Brad Buxer. And I went to Brad's house, and it was just me and him. And he was like, just play the solo. And I'm like, can we just start with da-na-na-na-na and work into it? And he was like, no, just the guitar solo. And the weird thing about the guitar solo is it's like, and I was like, it just doesn't have any character of its own, or it does, but it's just weird. So I'm just like,
a whammy bar. And
I'm like, okay, here you go. And then he looks at me and he nods and he says, okay.
Oh,
and then,
wow.
It was a little more than that because Michael Jackson wanted me to talk to him through a video camera at the time. And this was like a really long time ago. And so he goes, so now I'm going to turn the video camera on. I want you to talk to Michael. And so
there was no Zoom back then.
No, I wasn't used to, this was 1992.
Mm-hmm.
So I just was sitting on the stairs at this guy's house and this camera went on. I was like, hi, Michael. It's me, Mary, and I love your music. And I had a poster on my wall when I was little. I was like, I didn't know what to say. And then this guy, Brad, goes, okay, you can go now.
You can go now.
So, but they kept calling me back, and then more and more band members were there each time.
Okay.
And then finally, I kind of got the feeling I wasn't getting picked because I had heard from someone that rehearsals had started. And I was like, oh, man.
Yeah.
So I went running into the rehearsal space because I knew where it was. It was this big place called Leeds in North Hollywood. And I went in, and there was this girl, Becky, who was much smaller than me. And I went up to Brad, the keyboarder. He's the musical director. And I said, hey, what happened? It seemed like it was going to happen. And he goes, Michael thinks you were too tall. I was like, really? But here's the good start of the story is that Lexi, my daughter, was 3 months old. And they told me, I was good friends with this hairdresser, makeup artist. And she said, well, we can bring lots of diapers in Anvil cases. And you can still keep breastfeeding. We're going to be staying at the Four Seasons and stuff. And she was bringing her baby who was the same age, you know. And so I thought, well, this will be, I guess I could do it. But it in my heart, for my firstborn child, I was a little nervous about the whole thing.
Yeah.
And so when it didn't happen, it didn't really break my heart because I had Lexi and we sat on the beach in Santa Monica. And you know what I mean?
No, that's not a bad place to be.
And then later I saw videos of the actual show because then the whole tour got canceled because of the molestation thing. So then I would have liked to have done it, but I don't know how I got on this rant. Sorry about that, EJ.
So what?
I'm sorry I went off on a rant.
That's okay. I'm rant prone and rant adjacent. It's okay. When my wife, after Christina, after we had dated a while, she came up to me one time and she had a little soap box, like a little fancy box of soap, and she handed it to me. And I go, okay. I thought I smelled or something. And this is when I had like really long hair. Yeah. And she goes, no, this is so you can carry your soap box wherever you go.
Oh, that was my box, I think. That was like, my Michael Jackson soap box.
I told her, I said, you know what? I'm going to marry this girl.
Yeah, that was pretty cute. She sounds really cute.
She almost got to be the nanny for, this is an aside, sorry. speaking of rock and roll, she almost got to be the nanny for Sammy Hagar on one of his tours.
Oh, nice.
And she came to me and told me, she says, I didn't go and interview because I didn't want to leave school. And I'm like, what? I would have quit too. We could have both gone. Because I was a big Van Halen guy.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I tried to grow my hair out like Sammy Hagar's because I liked both. I liked David Lee Roth and I liked Sammy Hagar. For me, they were two different bands with the same guitar player.
Same here. That's exactly it. It's really different.
Yeah, it's a very different vibe.
A totally different vibe.
Yeah, but it was, I was in college in 91, right? So that was a perfect time. And the 80s was all like David Lee Roth stuff. And then later 80s, I was saying, I shouldn't do that. Sammy Hagar. So you've been playing guitar. How long have you been playing guitar?
Well, really, I started playing on a ukulele when I was about 2. And I just couldn't keep my hands off anything that was musical my whole life. And so I studied violin and cello and classical piano and played bass and drums. And then one day, like in high school, because I always played acoustic guitar with my mom, but one day in high school, somebody handed me a bass with an amp. And that was it. Big Jer at his house after school had a bass with an amp. And I was like, I had the feeling of turning up an amp. And I was like, oh, come on,
Yes.
And then I realized like, well, I'm actually a guitarist. This bass thing is fun, but the guitar and that was it for me. Somewhere along the line, I plugged the guitar into the amp and it was all over. It was like, and that was around like, I guess age 14 or so.
Oh, wow. So what was your first, if you remember, I'm sure you do. What was your first electric guitar?
It was a Les Paul Custom Black Beauty.
Oh.
I worked at the Belly Deli, which is the deli down the street. And I earned $2.50 an hour or some ridiculous amount.
Yeah.
And I saved and saved and saved. And I walked into the local music store and there it was, because I knew I wanted to get a Marshall head, a 412 Celestion cabinet, and a Les Paul Custom. That I wasn't going to start really shredding until I had all the right stuff right out of the gate, because I knew I was going to do it. I was just like, this is what I'm going to do. And so I went in and I sat down and I was testing the guitar. Oh my God. And it was just, what a Les Paul's like. It's like butter. And I looked up and Neil Schon from Journey was standing right in front of me. And I knew it was a good sign because he looked at me and goes, wow, you are really good. Because you're really good. Because you're going to be so good someday. You're just good. And I was looking at, and then he walked off and I thought, that's it.
It's a sign.
So I bought that guitar and just ever since, and I got the old English Marshall head. I still have that. And that thing just sounds incredible. Still,
Gosh. I can't, that's like, I would, because I'm a guitar player. You've seen me play.
Yes.
But I'm really a rhythm guy.
You're a good guitar player. Stop
thank you. I appreciate it. but I am. I'm a rhythm guy. I've never really focused on playing leads or anything, and I love to sing. And so my favorite, but I always loved guitar players and people who sang really well. And so I liked like Stevie Ray Vaughan, Jimi Hendrix, and it was I loved. And my favorite singers were like Joe Cocker and Greg Allman and
love that stuff.
And Van Morrison. These are these were just things. I think I've talked about this before on one of the other interviews. I was with Annalise. I was playing at what do you call it? Oh gosh, what's the name of Sweetwater during open mic night one night, and I did a Van Morrison song just as a cover, just for fun. And someone told me that his daughter had been in the audience. I had done Into the Mystic, and I was like, I am so glad that I didn't know that, because I wouldn't have been able to do it at all. Now,
I worship people that sing and play at the same time. I mean, I sing backup vocals mostly. I've done a couple of little albums where I'm
Mhm.
singing lead vocals, but I have
Mhm.
a quirky little voice, and no matter how good I can do it, I just have my own sound that
Yeah.
is not, you know what I mean? And
No,
so
I totally understand. Yeah.
I always end up in the position of just I'm the lead guitar player with the backup vocal,
Mhm.
but I love singing, and I do really respect people that can do both at once because it's not easy.
But it's funny. I can sing and play at the same time, but when it comes to like the in between times when you're supposed to talk and play
Oh
or
yeah,
talk
yeah,
and tune, I
yeah.
can't do that.
Oh my God,
It's
patting your head and rubbing your
yeah. It's
stomach.
like, well, it's like I'll start going. Well, one time I'm tuning and I'm looking
and then
down, so,
and then yeah.
then what was the name of your first band you were in?
The first band I was in was called Rox. It was Roxz.
Uh huh.
It was an all-female rock band.
Yeah.
Did partially originals and partially cover tunes.
Uh huh.
And we played at the Keystone Berkeley was my first
Oh,
gig.
cool.
Yeah, it was a really
Wow.
great club. It went along for a long time,
Yeah.
that club. Yeah. And
Oh
I'm still
gosh.
friends with some of those. Those are really sweet ladies and
Yeah. Yeah.
did a lot of stuff.
No, are you in a band right now?
Yes,
You do a bunch of different types of music though, right?
I do. I just like staying kind of versatile.
Uh-huh.
I'm very known more for playing like really like heavier rock
Yeah, I know.
metal. That's kind of my, it's like a sport for me that I friggin' love, but I also, like my heart, what you talk about, like the Allman Brothers and all that, I'm in a Southern rock band
Uh-huh.
that's female fronted. So
Yeah.
we've got a violinist. My earbud's falling out. There
No
it is.
worries.
My violinist plays lead guitar solos with me. So we do harmony lead guitar because in the 70s, they had lots of people there, like Leonard Skinner,
Mm-hmm.
all these
Charlie
bands had a ton,
Daniels.
Charlie Daniels, we play all that music.
Yeah.
And so when Julie and I wanted to play together, I love Julie, she's my violinist. And
Mm-hmm.
we were trying to think like, how do we incorporate a violin into some of this stuff? Well, it was pretty easy. We would have her sort of morphing between organ parts and playing lead guitar with me. And so
Wow.
we like throw lead guitar solos back and forth to each other. They're really fun.
Oh my. Now, do you ever watch reaction videos at all?
Yes, I love that one. Are you thinking of the one with the guys doing Freebird?
Gosh.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
I especially love like ones that are cross-cultural. Like
Yes, this is
people
a
who are
cross-cultural Freebird.
people who are really into like rap and stuff.
Yes.
Usually like African American
Mhm.
influencers and stuff.
And they're
They'll be
just like,
watching.
what?
Yeah, they're like, but they're like watching Charlie Daniels play when the devil went down to Georgia.
Yeah, we do that
Or they're
song.
listening to the Righteous Brothers sing.
Yeah.
The especially for people who they grew up. They grew up with a totally different style of music.
Yeah.
Which I totally understand.
Mhm.
And then they heard these songs before, but they didn't know who sang them, or they
Yeah.
maybe had never seen it before.
Yeah.
And so they're just sitting there going, "Oh my gosh!" Or like
Yeah.
Chris Stapleton. When
Yeah.
I saw a guy watching Chris Stapleton sing, and they're looking at each other going, "This guy has a lot of soul singing." And it's just because soul has no ethnicity. Soul has no no skin tone.
No.
And so it's amazing. I love watching that, and I've even done that too. I'll be like, I wonder who sang this song, like a '70s song or '60s. And I'll
Yeah.
look them up, and I'm like, I had no idea that was a woman singing that song.
It's even crazier now because we have like Amazon Music and all the lyrics are going by. We pulled up like a 70s thing last night when I was cooking dinner. I was like, that's what they're saying? like the words are like, I'm like, oh my God, that's what I did not know that's what they were talking about.
I was raised, my parents were pretty strict, but I went to a school that was very strict in from 5th grade to 12th grade about music. But the funny thing was they were okay with 50s and 60s music. Oh. And you're sitting there going, it's about the same thing. They're just saying it differently.
Yeah, with a different tone.
Totally different tone.
They're not as gravelly, maybe.
Yeah, same subject matter.
Exactly.
Maybe
That's
not
funny.
so maybe not so graphic, but same
Yeah,
subject
that's
matter.
yeah.
But that's amazing. Now, who are some people that you got to tour with? You did, you tried out for Michael Jackson, but who are some people you got to tour with that you really enjoyed?
Oh my God, like I've opened for Rod Stewart. I thought that was pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Played with like actual real Motley Crue, because I'm in at least I have been in a Motley Crue tribute band that's all girls. Cruella. I'm not in them right now. Yuka is their guitar player, but I am going to go play with them in Indiana in July.
Nice.
So we're doing like, as long as it still happens, you know what I mean? Because of the virus.
Everything's on hold now.
I'm pretty excited though, because I love playing. Those songs are like a workout. And everybody's like, oh, it's just simple music. You can just play Motley Crue. And I'm like, having 2 hours of Motley Crue under your hands with the slide guitar and every single little part, it's not nothing.
Nikki Sixx.
It's four chord guitars. Like, not all the way sometimes, but it's like you can tell they wrote it when they didn't know anything about music theory. And so
they just put it together anyway.
What they're going to do next does not make all the sense in the world.
No, it was Nikki Sixx was their guitar player, right?
Mick Mars.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Nikki Sixx was the other guy.
That's the bass player.
The bass player, yep.
Yeah.
I think he was a lot sometimes more vocal. About stuff. That's awesome. So you play with them and you play in a Southern rock band. Oh, and I've made comments. If you guys ever come down this way, we'll show you a good time.
Oh, that would be so fun.
Yeah, Southern rock, man, and everybody goes out for that here.
And let me tell you about my Southern rock band. My lead singer, Mel Chappelle, has the most shredding, gorgeous, just thick, rich, gravelly, and she sings all the man songs. Like almost every song you do in Southern rock is male, right? And we get so excited because, oh God, for me to play ZZ Top, it just feels like I want my beard and I want, and she sings it how.
Oh, wow. And there's a great documentary about ZZ Top on Netflix right now.
Oh, I need to go see that.
It is really good.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't know, I'd say 90% of this stuff.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yes, it's really good.
See it.
Yeah, they're incredible, and they've lasted a long time.
Yeah,
with the same lineup, 3 guys.
Yeah. It's easier to be married to 3 people than more, I think, because bands are literally like a marriage, you know? And one of the things I totally love about my band is called Southern Comfort.
Great. That's a great name.
The Southern Comfort Band. And I think there's other bands called that, but we don't really care.
There's got to be at least 2 or 3 names.
Yeah, I mean, that's not too original. But main thing about that band is we just love each other. Like we have 3 guys and 3 girls. It's kind of female fronted. Yeah. And then Bob is in it also.
Yes.
Who,
Bob Griffith, for everybody who doesn't know him. And I probably will interview him sometime soon.
He's the best. But the main thing is like, no matter what goes on, like somebody disappoints us in the band or is late or has some issue or something, nobody cares that much, because the most important thing is how much we love each other. And that it's been really unusual in this band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I had to apologize to some of my friends because I had a band before I moved to California, and I had to apologize because, I mean, in general, I think I come across as pretty nice and gregarious, but I didn't realize how big of a jerk I was when I was leading my band. And so I had to really apologize. It's like a marriage, and, playing with people, especially if you play with them for a while, is very intimate.
It's intimate and personal.
Very personal. Really is. Yeah, and I talked to someone the other day. It's like, when you play. Oh yeah, I was talking to Annalise the other day, in an earlier interview, and I was like, playing music with people and singing with people, it's like it's like dancing. It's like a marriage. It's you have to know who does this and who does that.
Yeah.
You kind of, and when it works, when you feel it.
Yeah.
That is it's a big feeling of elation.
It's so neat because you're you're speaking in a different language, really. You're listening to every part and every player in the band, in the room, in the actual venue that you're in, and whatever sound system you've got. I mean, it's like it's all your senses are alive, and you have to trust each other and kind of know what to expect and be able to rely on each other and know what everybody's weaknesses might be, and be able to be okay with that too, and not be frustrated with like, well, that guy is just always late. Well, if he's always late, just be used to it. It's okay. He's late.
He's the guy you expect to be late, and if he's not late, you're like, what's wrong?
Yeah, there's something going on here.
No, I totally understand that, and it was fun. I mean, I got to play with a lot of different people. I tell my daughter now, Chloe's a trumpet player. And
oh my gosh, how cool is that?
She's 14.
14 trumpet? Oh.
Yeah, and the cool thing is for me is, you haven't met
there
this
she
one.
is. Oh no, that's
this
not her.
This is Clara. This is the youngest girl.
Hi, Clara.
Say hello. Say hey, Mary.
Hi, Mary.
Hi, Clara.
Yeah, she's got a little rock and roll in her. She's
cute. Does she have an instrument she plays?
Not yet, but she walks around with a microphone and sings into it.
Oh, she's the vocalist.
Yeah. Claire, but Chloe is I got to introduce her to Miles Davis and Dizzy Gillespie and all this stuff. And I think I was just kind of ready. I was ready to pounce, as soon as she chose her instrument. I'm like, okay, what'd she choose? Yes, Miles Davis.
yes. Oh my God, that's so cool.
So she's doing really well. She enjoys it a lot. She practices. She's better at practice than I ever was.
Is she the oldest?
Mm-hmm. She's the second.
So
mommy.
You've got 2 girls and 2 boys. How many? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Oh, that's nice. That's a good balance.
Some days, yeah.
And they probably fight.
Yeah, it is balanced. That's definitely for sure. And they kind of split up into teams. It's like a little war. You're like, who's with each other? Do the teams go
as girls and boys, or do they mix? No.
It mixes. It really does. It depends on the day.
See, I knew that my kids couldn't outnumber the parents. That's like, you are so brave and strong to be able to raise 4 kids. Yes, you are. Yes.
Not at all. We honestly, we didn't know we could have children. And then one day we had one and we're like, I guess we can, especially after 4. And I joke around about this in public. I say, you know what? We should get married now. It's getting kind of serious.
All 4 kids.
And people that don't know me are like, what? Especially in Alabama. They're like, what?
Well, can I tell your fans what it was that you named us?
What was it? I forgot.
Well, we haven't forgotten. Like, the whole family remembers this, EJ.
Oh, gosh. What did I name you guys?
No, it's kind of apropos. It fits us in a certain way. And we don't mean to be this way, but we are. EJ dubbed us the Plastic Carys.
Hey, gosh, you said something about that the other day, and I totally forgot about that.
I loved it because we still reference it. Well, we worry because sometimes like we're all too done up or something, or we come in and we all look exactly the same.
No, I think because if I told it to you, it was meant as a compliment.
It's so cute. Like, you should name a band that. It's like one word, the Plastic Cary.
You got okay. Just to be fair, this is a compliment. Okay. All 4 of you are beautiful. You're beautiful, and you're fun, and that's that's probably why I could say it to your face. I'm like, they're fun and they're beautiful and just nice. Aww. Just so nice. And that's not always a combination, so nice looking people who are kind and talented. Sometimes people, they get arrogant about stuff, and
we try not to be too checked out. That's the main thing.
You guys were always so fun and so encouraging and stuff. And
sometimes like your ego gets all out of where it shouldn't go when you're on stage or a musician. And I was going to say, one of the most beautiful things was coming to Jesus and playing worship music. It changed my life in so many ways and has been with me forever. And, I was in the back row at Hillside Church for one of the first times I think it was the first time I had ever been there, because Lexi, my daughter, was like, we should go to church, Mom. Let's go to that church. I was like, well, I didn't know anything about church. I thought, because I'm in California, I was like, wait, what? I don't know. So I thought, this is the weirdest thing. So we go into this church, like the local church, and I'm in the very back, and this guy like points me out, and he goes, you need to come play guitar with us. I'm like, oh my God, no, I do not need to play guitar with you guys. I was like, you don't know what you're saying. I'm a Marshall. I play metal guitar. You do not want, it's not good for, look at this. This is actually a church. You're crazy, And then they go, no.
It's the church was very folksy. You know what I mean? It had folksy. I mean, it's a lot of wood. Yeah. And earth. It was very earthy,
Earthy, folksy church. It was not like those big, it wasn't like Hillsong United or nothing like, no. It wasn't high tech or anything.
No.
But I guess they needed a bass player that weekend or something. And I thought, well, and then slowly I started playing guitar with them, and I was trying to lay back, and the worship leader, he goes, why are you, I'm just trying to play like one note leads. I didn't want to hurt anybody. And he turns around and goes, Mary, God wants you to shred. I was like, well, if God wants me to, you got it.
It's like that's how you don't have to ask an electric guitar player once.
No. And then there was the sweetest thing, like that Prince, our pastor's name was Prince at the time, and he said something to me that has stuck with me through all my gigging, secular gigs, everything. And it was like, kind of expect some percentage of the audience to be broken, really going through something horrible or just life-changing, broken. And so that helped put my ego in check about playing, because it was more, before that, it was like, look at me. I wonder if everybody likes my pink platform tennis shoes, And I loved all that stuff. I still do. But then putting that in the back of my mind, like, there's people in here, and it's true of my Facebook page or anywhere, where they're broken. We're all broken. We all get broken. We don't get out of this thing without suffering, And I wanted to remember that. And so even when I play with Southern Comfort or the Motley Crue tribute, I think of that, how people come to us to be lifted up, and whether you're lifting them to God, or in California, you get lifted to the universe, or whatever you're lifting to. It's not about me. I'm just a vessel for music to pass through, so we can all feel it together. And that's a whole different thing that I learned from worship music that I love. Oh, you're gone. Oh, you muted yourself.
Oh, there we go.
No wonder I got to rant for so long.
No, it's totally fine. It's totally fine. I had children running back and forth behind me.
That was smart. Yeah.
I'm just listening to you, and I was going to jump into. I've had some of my best. Talk about when you're having like a rough time. Had some of my best times, like just lost in a crowd, listening to music that I love, and being elevated in that time. And sometimes even though I'm an extrovert, it's kind of nice to be lost in a crowd and no one knows who you are. They can't hear what you're saying, whatever, and just enjoy the music.
Just feel it. Yeah.
Because music is very spiritual. I don't care what type of music it is.
Yeah.
It can be very, very spiritual. It could be a bad one, and it could be good.
Yeah.
But it's because there's music. Here's Christina laughs at me because when if ever I got depressed, this is music I listen to go, I'm not feeling so bad. I would listen to Soundgarden.
Oh yeah.
And Pearl Jam or something like that, and I'm like, I'm not that depressed.
You're not as depressed as that.
No, I'm not that depressed. Wow,
that stuff is dark sometimes. Yeah.
Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah. I've been teased for being like, I play in these metal bands, and like Wendy from Cruella just looked at me and she goes, you have to stop smiling so much. Because I'm sort of like the pop bubblegum personality.
You're supposed to be angry and play this music.
I'm not really that mad. I don't really all the way resonate with really dark music unless I'm playing it. When I'm playing it, I friggin' love it. So.
And 1 second, I got to pause for a second.
Go for it. Understand that.
Yeah. So I just had a child accident, so I had to pause it for a second.
Yeah. At least it wasn't a wardrobe misfunction.
No, I haven't had any of those yet. And I'm wearing pants. And
oh my
shirt.
God.
Yeah, because you saw, I don't know if you saw John Krasinski, you know who that is?
Yeah, I think I did. Was that the guy with no pants on?
Yeah, he stood up. It is a joke. They were talking, because he used to be in The Office, and now he's doing the Good News Network or whatever online.
Yeah.
And they one of his co-stars said, "I bet you're not wearing pants." And he got up, and I think he was wearing a tutu and boxing shorts.
It's a really different time when you're filming stuff from inside of your house now,
Oh gosh, yeah. I try not to film much inside my house because there's no telling. It's even crazy. I guess that's one of the reasons I do it outside.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of natural sound.
Anything could happen. You have no control over anything.
The funny thing is there's lots of birds out here. And so there's at the end of every video, I always tell you what kind of bird it was that was singing at the time.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. I haven't watched your show. I'm going to have to watch it now.
That's okay. No, this is really, no joke. This is my introducing you to other people. You can watch it if you want. Even a few of them haven't seen it, their own thing. And that's totally fine. If I didn't have to edit them, I wouldn't rewatch them because to me, it's an experience.
Yeah.
It's just a conversation that I had with a friend. And so it's kind of weird to go back and go, okay, I got to shorten this because
she was rambling on. I need
no, not that kind of stuff. It's like a child interruption or something or whatever.
I do a lot of video editing. So
I know. So can you tell me who are your favorite guitar players?
Neil Schon from Journey.
Yeah, well, that makes sense.
Is a huge influence on me. I had a guitar lesson with him when I was about 18, and it just was the most amazing because I had been rewinding all of his lead guitar solos and trying to figure them out. And then I got to ask him, how did you do that? And he's like, I don't remember. I didn't know how he did it either. And I'm like, I think you did it like this. And he goes, well, how'd you do that then? And so then it was really cool because he was very respectful and sweet. And of course, I love Carlos Santana.
Oh, yeah.
Just the passion of his lead guitar playing.
He's doing a master class online now.
I saw that. Just even the commercial got me excited.
I know.
I was like, oh.
And you interviewed him once, at least once that I saw.
I interviewed him once, and I was so gaga that I just lost myself in the interview. I just was like, I could not believe I was standing right next to him, able to ask him everything that I'd ever imagined about, he was so spiritual, and his handlers were not the easiest thing to deal with.
That's their job. So I understand that.
Yeah, it was fine. But yeah, he's just a light spirit, just almost childlike, just amazing, beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does he still live in NorCal?
I think so, because we see him drive around here in Sausalito, and I think he lives in Mill Valley, which is right the next town over.
Yeah. No, that's there's so much food I miss there.
I have to say, I have some guitar people that I completely worship that not everybody knows about too.
Yeah. The guitarists.
Yeah. They aren't even should be really famous, but are, just technically ridiculous. I'll have to say one of those is Terry Lauderdale. That guy is so technically perfect. It's hard to imagine that fingers would do such a thing. I used to play in a band with him, and I would look to see if he had extra. Yeah. His hand actually had this many.
Gosh.
He's so good. Terry Lauderdale. Just perfect. He's he does all those sweeping, arpeggiated, and it's almost like when you're watching him, it's almost like there's something like a machine going behind him or something. It's what
he's being controlled.
Yeah. And then, of course, Stevie Ray Vaughan and, you know, all of the guitar players that I emulate in Southern Comfort, you know, all of those guys.
Now, do you have a hat with a raccoon?
I do.
You have to have it.
Yeah. I love that whole style. It's so fun to me. And especially being, I hate to be sexist, but being a female lead guitar player and able to actually play those songs on stage, it just makes me feel so powerful.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, because, you know, as a kid looking up to those guys, they were all dudes. And it kind of began to dawn on me like, oh my God, there's no female lead guitar players in there, you know? And
yeah, I went to prepare for this a little bit. I went to Rolling Stone online.
Yeah.
And I don't know what year it was, but I looked up, top rock guitar players.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was mostly dudes.
Yeah.
But I was expecting to see like Joan Jett and some others in that list. Now, I may have missed them, but I didn't see any women in that list. And they can correct me. I'll go back and look. But if they were like sparse, you know. And
then, it was really hard. I think part of being, you know, because it wasn't like I played with everybody. Like I've played with every of the top producers of the entire world throughout my life, you know. But I actually literally had Randy Jackson, who's, you know, he was on American Idol or whatever.
Yes.
I remember him coming out to see me play with, and he just looked at me, he goes, I just don't get the girl thing. Sony can't sign you because I don't get the girl thing. And it was just
what do you not get?
It's so disappointing. I'm looking at myself thinking, oh, there's not a lot I can do about that. You know what I mean? It's
like, I'm not planning on making any changes.
It's like great songs. You know, you guys look great. You sound great. You're so talented. But I just don't really. We had a girl band once. We had a band once that had girls. And that's it. You know, once was fine. You know, it's like, oh my God. It was like, okay, these are things that people have said to me.
That's like, amazing, because I can think of like the Joan Jett and her band.
Yeah.
You know, my first introduction to, besides Joan Jett, I had a cousin that looked like Joan Jett to me, and so every time I saw Joan Jett, I was like, oh, that's my. What? No, it was weird.
Like my cousin,
yeah. So I always remembered her, you know, even though she was before me, and you know, as I was growing up. But Lita Ford?
Lita Ford. I mean, people can name them on your hands, basically. Yeah. But you know what's funny about that, EJ, is that I always thought that I was like a lone, you know, wolf out there.
Yeah.
And I just figured there wasn't a lot of female lead guitar players, and that maybe it was like I was just a weirdo.
Yeah.
But what kind of brings a tear to my eye now that I have my Facebook and stuff with all of my friends, there's a lot of really great female lead guitar players that were around through all of that time, the 90s, 80s, 90s. And we were all there, but there was a definite glass ceiling. It's like, you're not coming in. This is a boys' party.
Yeah.
You know, and so there was a lot of heartbreak around that for me. And then when I look at these other women, I think, oh, they must have also, you know, suffered. Because there was like one really good gig for all of us, and that would have been Michael Jackson. That was it, you know.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. But,
gosh, like I would. There were some amazing. I mean, especially women singers. I mean, even though there are a lot of them, I can count the ones you probably count 10 on my hands.
Yeah.
That really influenced even my style of music. Some amazing voices. So
I don't try to go there too much because it hurts.
Yeah.
But it's also like, you know, I have like faith that that whatever my path has been is great. It's turned into what I am and who I am in life, which is, you know, I had a wonderful time raising my kids, and I played guitar all the way through all of that. And you know, I've played with some of the most amazing people on earth. I played on all the Sega commercials in the 90s. And
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Nobody
knows. That's what I love about that too, because that was not my gender. That was my guitar playing.
There's your guitar playing. Skill.
That was my skill.
Of anything that should be skill.
Yeah, that must feel.
Gosh.
It was weird too because they wrote the parts off of a keyboard part, and this guy was so into weird time signatures and stuff that it would just be like one bar of 3, the next bar of 11, and then a thing of 4, and then something flew in the guy's face, and then you do a on the guitar. So it was like Sega. It was really fun.
But it's weird because you can do this too, I bet. But I look at a piece of music that I'm learning to play or something, and I go, a piano player wrote this.
Exactly.
Just because it's not the same mindset, just a different mindset.
I would get bitchy about that too. Finally, I just go, you want a guitar player, but you wrote this on a keyboard. So just let me do it the way it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
Okay?
That progression will not easily work on this stick.
It will sound
with
dumb
strings on
here. It'll sound stupid.
My fingers won't stretch.
I know what you mean by this, but yeah.
11? It goes all the way up to 11. Don't even look at it.
Yeah, don't look.
So do you still play music and you still play guitar? Your kids are grown basically now.
Yeah.
And your son is a pilot?
My son is a pilot with SkyWest. He's in a program called Propel, which means in about 2.5 years, all goes right, he'll be a Delta Airlines pilot. He flies jets, and he's 23. Awesome. He just turned 23.
Gosh.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know if I should let you out in the car, but you're flying a jet.
It's weird. He soloed in an airplane about 3 months after he got his driver's license. So he really loves planes.
And your daughter, what is she doing now?
She is a producer in Hollywood. She's been working on the David Spade show. She's like produced about 130 David Spade shows. And she's also, got like a really popular Instagram, and she's very entrepreneurial and has all these sort of side gigs that she does. And
that makes sense, though.
She's a writer, and she's doing great. She lives in Silver Lake, which is
cool.
LA,
we have some friends here who live near us before they moved back here, they were living in Silver Lake.
Yeah, that's the hip place.
Yeah, they miss it. They miss it a lot.
Yeah. It's a little weird right now with the coronavirus.
Oh, yeah, I bet. It's weird here, too. It's just different type of weird.
Yeah.
The way different type of weird. So you moved on from music, but along with music, you also started doing videos and stuff. How long have you been doing videos and stuff?
Yeah.
How'd you get into that?
That is so cool because I had an independent record label, and I decided that I was going to begin to learn how to create a fan base and promote music. And I had been on a lot of music videos and sat through the editing process and through the filming process. And I had been on TV commercials as a model and, in front of the camera a lot. But my interest was always sort of behind the camera on things. Like I love being a recording engineer. I went to school to be a recording engineer. And I figured recording engineering is a lot like, doing video editing and stuff. So
just one more element.
Yeah. And so I built this little record label thing, and I was like, okay, now I'm understanding marketing. It was almost like a hobby at the same time as becoming a business.
Yeah.
And then the recession hit in 2008.
Yeah.
And at that point, I knew how to build websites and do video production and search engine optimization, and I understood data and all kinds of things that were coming on really fast.
Yeah.
I loved it. And I got real scared because we were in a really bad space. Like we were going to lose the house, or everything was happening.
Yeah.
And I put out a video and I search engine optimized it. And I was standing there in my garage with a piece of green cloth on the wall that I bought for like $6. Exactly.
You should see what this looks like without the picture on it.
Oh my God, we need the green thing. And then I did this little marketing video where I said, lawyers, are you interested in, getting more cases online through video? Did you know that YouTube has search engine optimization? You can get your video, blah, blah, whatever I said.
Yeah.
2 months later, I got a call from someone from Kentucky who said, hey, y'all, this is Nikki Love. And we saw your video. We wondered if y'all would come speak at the Four Seasons in Santa Barbara to a bunch of lawyers. And I thought my friends were joking me. I was like, this is weird. Yeah. My friends are fucking with me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was real. And next thing I knew, I had my PowerPoint and I had my little suit on and I tried to hide the pink out of my hair. And you know what I mean? And then at the end of this long talk about video production and search engine optimization and WordPress websites, one of the lawyers said to me, so you're telling us to be authentic and to actually be on YouTube and Facebook? Lawyers are not going to be on Facebook. And he goes, besides, what would we find if we saw your Facebook page? And I was like, well, if you don't want to see me in a spiked bra hanging from a chandelier playing lead guitar, don't go.
Don't go.
So,
and I work for myself, so I'm not going to be fired from my job.
I'm not firing myself, but that was my first gig, and they came running at me with their cards, and I've been helping law firms build and grow in just about any medium, from television commercials to just everything.
Yeah,
ever since it's fun.
And I saw just recently. Now I don't know how old it is, but it seemed like a recent video where you were doing how to do Zoom or do working from home kind of stuff for people who just really don't understand that.
Yeah,
because
it's brand new.
Yeah,
I mean, the people having to be, that was a brand new, this is the first time I've done online paid tutorials. I've done a lot of teaching. I've spoken at conferences for law firms for like 12, ever since 2008, however many years that is. And all over the, and then what I would take, because I like teaching them how to do it themselves. So I would just like do, screen capture videos and teach them how to do everything, like search engine optimization, build a website, do Facebook video ads, whatever it is. And then this is my first paid course. Like I've done these courses forever, but I wanted to figure out how to get a platform. And I figured the best thing we could do is teach professionals, because I had all these phone calls where they didn't know where to put their eyes. It was a huge mess back here. They didn't know how to light up their space or whatever. And
the thirds.
The rule of thirds, that whole thing, I put the green screen on that door back there. And I just used my usual branding, which makes it seem like I'm in a much bigger studio than I was, but I couldn't get down to my studio. So I did all of that from my walk-in closet.
Wow.
That was cool. And it definitely made me a couple $1,000s.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this for us, this is my back porch.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of an interesting thing. I've said this before, but I've been joking because I've worked from home for a while.
Yeah.
And now I have a few extra office mates. And so it's almost like working at a real office because you can't find a meeting room. There's no telling what's going on behind you. People are yelling in the backgrounds. People steal your food, have one of them he's on the floor.
I've noticed that I get more done, and my people I've had virtual people work for me at Go Media Marketing for the whole time, like since 2008. Used to be called freelancer. And then also I just didn't see a reason why people had to be right in the office, but with Zoom, oh my God, it's so much better. I mean, I've always had a big studio. And then over the last few years, I would just be alone in this big video studio by myself working. And I was like, this is crazy. I should probably, take my own advice and just shrink it down a little bit, because I don't care if people are in an office or what, they can do better, actually, I think, sometimes from home.
Yeah, they have more flexibility, It's just, I have some stuff I've been doing with people overseas. And their time schedule is different than mine.
Yes.
And so I will sometimes go to bed at like 8 at night, which that means I'm only going to sleep 6 hours or 5 hours. And I will get up, go to a conference call with them. And then I get up and I go hang out with my kids and stuff. So my work day is 24 hours a day.
Me too.
But some days it's divided up a little bit,
I love that. I think it's healthier for us as people too. I mean, I have people that work for me in the Philippines, Mary May, she's amazing. I have guys that work for me in Los Angeles.
That's cool.
I have people in Sausalito that work with me, and yet we Zoom and they're just, close by. And
if you need to get together, you can.
Yeah, but we can share screens, so I can be like, no, here's what I really want you to do. And I can just, and then go, oh, okay, I get it. And it's just such a cool thing. I really hope more people get the idea to stay at home working and save the environment a little bit,
Yeah.
After all this.
This has been, I mean, the weather has been different. The skies have been clear.
Yeah.
It is nice. I enjoy that part of it. And I enjoy getting to see my kids all day.
Yeah.
They don't like it, but I do enjoy that. So it's
hard for them to share you with this, right? I mean,
yeah, well, this they enjoy because they get to see their dad talking to his friends and laughing for a little while during his lunch break. But
yeah,
sometimes, it's especially when it's a serious phone call, like super serious, you're like, come on guys,
yeah.
The other day Christina was in a very serious phone call, kind of. I mean, the people were very gracious, but one of our kids put on a squirrel costume, was dancing behind her, and then swapped out that for a raccoon costume. And Christina didn't see that. Everybody on the phone call was cracking up.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Oh God, that's awful too at the same time, because you're trying to be a little grown up and present something.
She's like looking, going like, what's going on? I don't see what's going on. And it was all going on like right behind her.
Oh God.
Yeah. So what stuff are you doing now? I mean, is there anything new that's coming up music wise, or any new stuff you're doing like entrepreneurial wise or whatever?
Well, definitely my online courses. It's a very cool platform to be able to develop anything you want to teach someone, from guitar riffs to like how to start a business, how to make money online, how to.
What's the name of the platform?
It's Teachable. It's called Teachable. Yeah. Okay. Teachable is so cool. And then also, but on the music side, we're figuring out Jam Kazam or something similar to that, so that we can, so that we can actually have online practices with low latency.
Yes.
So we're working on that. And because we haven't been able, like, our gigs are getting canceled because of the COVID virus now. And so that's kind of a cool thing. And then we've been also getting more creative about recording together because we can do it that way. So Did
you see the 30th or 33rd? I think it was the 30th anniversary of they hit number 2 or number 3. It was Crowded House. They played because they couldn't leave their houses. And our drummer's, he's passed, but the bass player, guitar player, and a keyboard player and a couple other musicians, they played one of their songs. And it was I brought tears to my eyes because I think Crowded House, I forget about them. They're 80s band, but they kind of fit, like, to me in my head, they fit the 90s.
Yeah.
Just the
I
song.
I totally agree. They have a great vibe.
It's totally great sound. And so it was so good to see them playing that. And it sounded like, it's nice when people go off script and stuff, but sometimes when the band just plays the song and it sounds like just exactly like you remember it when you were a kid. I used to make, I don't know what you did, but I used to get like tapes, and I would call into the radio station and request songs all the time because I was making a mixtape and I wanted certain songs, and I would wait for hours, and they say, well, this song's coming up, and I would just hit record.
Yeah.
And then that's how I made my mixtapes.
Oh, that's so nice. That's really nice.
I had like a little bitty like tape recorder.
Yeah.
And actually doing this, it's funny because I've been doing this all my life in some way.
Yeah.
Just like, because the little things, how I put all this together and stuff, is stuff I learned when I was 9 years old.
That's so nice.
It's so funny.
It's real you.
It feels good. Yeah. But that's cool. So you're on teachable.com. So they just look at, is your whole name, Mary Hazell Cary?
I think the best way to find me really is gomediamarketing.com.
Okay. Awesome.
My Teachable school is called Mary Cary School.
Okay. That was totally cool.
But that's fun.
Yeah. And if people, I mean, I don't know who's all watching. I haven't monetized this at all yet. I mean, I wanted to see how this would go. Yeah. It is basically introducing people, but people want help with the SEO.
I think you're doing a great job.
Coming from you, that is a huge compliment.
It's a big deal to have your green screen and your kids around and be able to pull this off. I mean, it's really.
Thank you. No, it's every time I do this, I'm trying to just add a little bit, improve a little bit.
Yeah.
Make it more fun. When everything kind of calms down, I still want to keep doing this. Because it's a good outlet for me, And as an extrovert, and I think you'll understand this very much, this is like catching up with people and just doing, and like I would in a bar or at church, or if I just ran into someone in the hall, it's like, it's like, how are you doing? And I haven't seen you in a while. And I feel that same way. And it's good for my heart and good for my soul.
It's good for my heart too. This has been so nice. I can't think of anything else I would try to want to do right now.
No, that's totally fine. That's totally cool. But it has been an immense pleasure to talk to you and learn some things about you. I didn't even know about how you got started in playing guitar. Cause when I would talk to you before, it was just like music or, just like, kids and stuff. And so, thank you so much for taking the time out to do this. Cause I know you work from home, and please tell your family I said hello. I want to do a road trip out to California so I can introduce my kids.
Yes. Oh, I would love it if you came by and had a hangout session on the deck.
That would be fun. I would love to sit in. I would love to hang out with you in Southern Comfort and just sing some backdrop songs of some Southern songs.
The whole band started by we call it a deck jam, because we have a big deck that looks out over the bay.
Yeah, I know. It's gorgeous.
Play all acoustic with our hats on and just sing and play on the deck. So it'd be really fun to have you here for that.
I got my first, not cowboy hat, but my first gardener hat this week.
Bring it on.
Yes, it's just a straw cap, and it looks like my pawpaw.
I think that's great. Come on.
Well, tell Bob and everybody said hello. And Mary Cary, thank you so much. And
thank you.
I will catch up again some other time. And I hope people go and check you out at your Teachables site, and also if they need services with the law firm stuff. That would be really cool.
GoMediaMarketing.com.
Say it one more time, because I think I was talking over you.
Okay. GoMediaMarketing.com.
Sweet. Well, thank you so much. Have an awesome day.
Thank you, EJ. Say hi to your babies and thank them for sharing their dada with me today.
I will. And I'll tell Christine you said hello too.
Okay.
Take care. Bye-bye.
I don't know how to hang up, so you have to.
I'll hang up. It's totally fine.
Okay.